Hi, welcome back to the Vinyl Record Mission. I'm Steve, and today we're going to talk about Tom Waits and an artist that he loved dearly, who the VC really doesn't show much love to.
Your two favorite guys, Ryan and Steve, from the Vinyl Record Mission.
Tom Waits. We all know Tom Waits. His amazing albums, his amazing writing ability, bluesy, jazzy, scruffy voice. One album he could sound like Louis Armstrong, and just an amazing writer. Been around since the mid to late 70s, has got an amazing discography. Just to name a few of his records, this is Nighthawks at the Diner. You've got Heart Attack and Vine, Big Time, Heart of Saturday Night, beautiful, beautiful album. Rain Dogs, he's got Blue Valentine, and there's a couple other great albums that he has out, and he's still going strong. He's been in movies, he's just had an amazing career. Also, this album right here, Run From the Heart, that's Tom Waits. This is pretty much a Tom Waits record. He's on every song. This right here, Crystal Gale, if things were different, it might have been this gal right here. Yeah, Rickie Lee Jones. Rickie Lee Jones was an artist that Tom Waits absolutely loved. He loved her so much that after watching her perform at the Troubadour in 1977, he was completely enamored and said that she was one of the sexiest women he had ever met, and she was beautiful and her voice was amazing, and he even went as far as to say that she reminded him of Jane Mansfield. Well, they ended up being an item. They were inseparable from 1977 to 1979, during which time Tom Waits had very little success with his albums. He had a number of albums already recorded by that time, and Rickie Lee was just starting out. She was getting a lot of attention, and the next thing you know, she had a record deal. And that record deal was for this album right here. This is her self-titled debut album, Rickie Lee Jones, with the massive hit Chucky's in Love, which is what everybody knows her for, loves her for, or hates her for. I don't know, maybe some people don't like that song, but this album went platinum first year, and then it went double platinum the next year in Australia. So, you know, the numbers tell the story. This album was very well received and shot her to instant fame, of which she had a very difficult time handling, because she came from a very, very different background than Tom Waits. But they were kind of like a less violent version of Sid and Nancy. You know, they were partying it up. They were running around doing drugs and drinking and boozing it up. Tom Waits even went as far as to have her, she's actually on the cover of his album Blue Valentine. You'll see her on the back cover, as you see here, as well as on the inner sleeve. So yeah, she was a big part of Tom's life back in the early days, and he definitely loved and respected her, but he had a difficult time handling her fame and also her drug habit. Her second album, which is an amazing record as well, probably my favorite, this is Pirates. This is also a Mobile Fidelity sound. These records are actually quite expensive. Her self-titled album on MoFi runs $150 in near mint condition. Same with this record. I've seen this record sell for up as high as $200 in sealed condition. But this album was filled with songs that were inspired by her relationship with Tom. Yeah, it's just a beautiful record. It did very, very well. This album happened to go gold. If you haven't heard it, I highly recommend you have a listen to this. A lot of people don't talk about Rickie Lee Jones in the vinyl community. I don't know why. Maybe because she's just not as cool or something. She is cooler than cool. As a matter of fact, she was nicknamed the Duchess of Coolsville. Coolsville was a song that she wrote, and I think Time Magazine gave her that nickname back in the 70s. But yeah, this gal, if you give her a chance, I mean, maybe you're new to her, you've never heard of her, but give these records a try. You will definitely be impressed. And the original pressings are not that expensive. You can find them in the wild for next to nothing. People pass them up all the time, but they are definitely worth a listen. Her third recording, which is not considered an album, it's an EP, was this here, Girl at Her Volcano. This is an original sealed copy right here that sells for about 30 bucks. And this has the song on it that Tom Waits actually wrote for her, which was Rainbow Sleeves. That record had some significance back in their early dating years, and she finally recorded it on this EP, of which she did this artwork herself on the cover. That's her drawing that she had put on the cover. Then came this album. This is The Magazine, and this was her third album that also, if I'm not mistaken, saw gold status as far as her sales were concerned. And this is another one that you can find in the wild for, these are sealed. I have like 9 sealed copies of this. This record is also on QuiX2 audiophile vinyl, and I'll show you here in the video what that looks like. It's a translucent smoky gray vinyl. When you just look at it normal, it looks like just like a regular black vinyl record until you hold it up to the light. You gotta hold it up to a certain type of light too, and then you can see right through it. It's translucent. See that? The light goes through it. So that's how you can tell the QuiX virgin vinyl audiophile pressings of The Magazine. These are sealed with the hype sticker. You can find these for like 40 bucks, 30 or 40 bucks, and these are original pressings. And the music on this album is amazing as well. Then you've got Flying Cowboys. This album has really seen a resurgence. These albums sealed are selling for over $50, I believe, and the open ones that sell in the 30s, you know, are like VG Plus and near mint condition. People are paying for this record here, which is also another really great album. In 1991, she did an amazing out-of-the-box recording on Geffen Records, and it was called Pop Pop. This is a super rare record to find of Rickie's. It's an amazing Argentinian folk jazz style performance by her, and her voice is just angelic and beautiful. There's some timeless classics on this record. She opens up with My One and Only Love. She has artists on this record like Charlie Hayden on bass, Joe Henderson, the Blue Note saxophone player, playing saxophone, and then there's, man, forgive me for not knowing his name, but there's the use of the Argentinian squeeze box called the bandoneon on here, and there's, I would imagine he's a notable artist playing the bandoneon on most of the songs, which gives it that Argentinian feel. This is also mastered by Bernie Grunman, so just all day long quality, high-end audiophile pressing on ORG Original Recording Group, and it's a double album, 180 gram, that if you see, pick it up, because they run between $250 and I've seen them sell all the way up to $400 for sealed copies. I had 2 of those that I sold, and I sold them both for $350 a piece, and I kept one for myself, of course. This is a later issue on Acoustic Sounds, and this is not Acoustic Sounds. This is a later recording from her that Analog Productions released, and this is on high-end audiophile pressing, 45 RPM, and this is an amazing record. that I've only streamed. Mine's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. But this record sells for $150 as well. And lastly, here's another one that is a much later pressing on Diverse Records. It's also audiophile, 180 gram. This was a later issue of her still performing into her later years. So she definitely had a prolific career. She's put out many albums. She's nominated for 8 Grammy Awards. She received Artist of the Year, Best New Artist of the Year in 1979 or 80 for her self-titled album. And then years later, she received Best Grammy for Best Female Jazz Vocal on a duet with Dr. John, covering the song Making Whoopee. So Rickie Lee Jones is no stranger to notable artists. She has worked with many of the greatest artists in the business. She's had them perform on her records. Ben Harper has performed on her albums. As a matter of fact, Ben Harper produced a record of hers later, I think in like maybe 2012, called The Devil You Know. She's also had on her first album, she had Randy Newman, Michael McDonald background vocals. She's worked with everybody. Oh, yeah. So this record right here was produced by David Was from Was Not Was. So yeah, the list goes on. I mean, Quincy Jones, she's worked with. She's worked with iconic people in the industry her whole career. And it's funny that now, back then in the 70s, in the 80s, she was on top of the world. She was outselling, she still has outsold Tom Waits records many times over. However, nowadays, nobody gives her a second look, Nobody talks about her. Very few people share her albums on YouTube in the vinyl community. But Tom Waits, he's the cream, he's risen to the top. And everybody talks about Tom Waits. Everybody shares his records. His records have very high value these days. But I just thought that I would bring Rickie Lee Jones back to life in the vinyl community and share some of her records that you will definitely enjoy if you give them a chance. Stream them and see what you think. I think she has one of the most angelic, beautiful, sexy, soulful, bluesy voices ever. And I really do appreciate her style of writing. I hear Tom Waits in her style of writing, as well as Mose Allison. If you are familiar with Mose Allison, he's another kind of a beat poet, jazzy, bluesy piano player from the late 50s and early 60s. Just wanted to share those records with you and that little story about Tom Waits and Rickie Lee Jones and the relationship that they had and how it probably inspired both of them to write some amazing music. So I hope you enjoyed this little trip, an adventure into the discography of Rickie Lee Jones and the story behind Tom Waits and Rickie Lee. And hopefully you'll give some of these albums a listen, and I hope you enjoy them. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. Take care.
If you haven't, make sure you hit like and subscribe to the Vinyl Record Mission so that way you don't miss out on any future content. More videos coming your way.